How we doing, everybody? We are back to talk about comics. We are back to talk about Wonder Woman, Marvel, and DC, and all this stuff. Check it out right now. All right, we are back. Thank you so much all for joining me. We are going to talk about whether these comics make good film and television shows. And I just want to give a quick shout out to rest in peace for Matthew Perry. I literally just found out that he passed. And yeah, so he was an amazing actor, very funny. And I hope he finally finds peace. I know he had a lot of issues. But anyway, let's talk about these comics with your host, Frank Zanca. I am an award-winning screenwriter and a novelist and comic book writer myself. And yes, I shill for my own books. Somebody else said I should. Well, if you're going to shill for somebody's books, make sure it's your own. But we have the sequel to actually it sells pretty well. This is the first issue of Lords of LA. This is a vampire mob set in the 1950s, and it's in 1950s Hollywood. It's a revenge story. So you have a person that's Lena. She's been turned into a vampire. She doesn't know which family turned her into the vampire. So 60 years later, she decides that she's going to take revenge on them all. So it's a 48 page. This is the first issue. The second issue is now going live. You can actually get the first issue in the Kickstarter itself as well. We're going to be launching in about 10 days or so. But if you can hit the QR code, you can get notified so that you can take advantage of our early bird specials and things like that. It's free to sign up, so it doesn't cost anything. So you can take a look once we launch, but it'll notify you with your email. All right, so go ahead and hit that QR code, and I really appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about, start out with Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman is being done by Tom King. And I'd love to say that he really understands the character and he knows the world of Themyscira and Diana's origin and that this was the best thing ever. Unfortunately, that is not the case. With a $5 price tag, I don't know how long I'm going to be collecting this. So the artwork on the opposite side of the coin, the artwork is very good. So I mean, we have some really good faces down the bottom. So this takes place back and forth between Diana being younger and doing the trials. I'm sure everybody knows the origin of Wonder Woman, where she, not in the movie, I don't think she did the trial in the movie. She just said, I'm going, and that was the end of that. But in the original comic and in the original TV show with Linda Carter, she had to go through trials. So they put all it was almost like the Amazon Olympics. So all the Amazons that wanted to participate in going to man's world had to go through these trials, and one of it was bullets and bracelets and stuff like that. They actually had a gun on Themyscira. This was in the Linda Carter version. And so she ends up blocking the bullets, and that's the last person along with her did not. And of course, her mother didn't want her to go, so they all had to wear masks. So they weren't being represented against where they said, okay, you're this person, so I'm going to, rank you higher or anything like that. So, it was all being standardized by wearing masks. And that's what they do here. That's why you see Diana with the mask on. But here they allude to the fact that she's younger. Come on, Tom. Come on. We all know that she was made of clay. Okay, she wasn't birthed. So she was just like in the movie with Gal Gadot, she was, she grew up on Themyscira. She was the only child. So the person that she's fighting against goes, oh, you're young. Well, of course she is. She's the only one. So how is how is there her identity a secret? So stupid. So stupid. So she's fighting with this person, and she keeps saying, "Oh, she's young, but she doesn't know who she is." Come on, man. So stupid. So the rest of the book, and this is really a cool panel, she's fighting the U.S. Army. So the U.S. Army sends tanks and everything else against her, and I guess that she's never been fought against the Army before. I love this one, where she's just blocking the bullets. And that was the one good thing that they did really correct back in the Linda Carter days. They had a Tommy gun, and she had just gotten to Man's World. I don't know if you've ever seen the pilot for the original Wonder Woman, but she gets when she first comes to Man's World. I think she's in New York, and a showman picks her up and says, "Hey, I want to put you on stage and show you off to the world." And she's like, "Oh, this is going to be how I get introduced to Man's World, is I'll be in front of a whole lot of people." And so she takes the job, even though she doesn't know that it's a job. And a woman takes out a Tommy gun, and the showman was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, yo, we can't do that." And Wonder Woman's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, I got it." So she opens up fire, and she's like, So I thought that was pretty cool. They did that really well back in the day, and of course they tried to redo that with Justice League, and that was probably the best scene in Justice League. So here, this is all that happens, is they go back and forth between Themyscira with her in the trial and her fighting the Army. That's the entire issue. There's no story here or anything else. So in the trial, she gets stabbed through the chest. Okay, we're back in Ahsoka, I guess, with people getting stabbed through the chest. So she pulls it out of her, and she says, "Now you don't have a sword, and I have two." And she wins by that. And the whole reason for this to happen is because she removes the helmet, the woman that lost, and it's the woman that killed the people in the bar. That's the entire reason for this issue, is that we show that she has a connection to this woman. They could have done that in a million different ways without messing up the origin story. But whatever. And then we have a backup story that is because we have this whole Amazon thing going on. Who cares? But that's it for that one. And so let's make a good film or television show. No, this is horrible. This is not Wonder Woman. It's not Wonder Woman. And I don't know how. Again, I don't know how long I'm gonna stay on track with this at $5 for somebody who doesn't understand the character. Okay, so let's move on to A Realm of X. So I was originally liking this. Okay, this is Thorne Grunberg, who was also writing Red Sonja. And, and I guess she likes this, type of sword and sorcery stuff. And I was originally liking it. And then for some reason, Marvel said, "Hey, go call our worst artist that we've ever had. Go call them. We got a job for them. Call him right now. Pick the worst guy you could possibly pick. Call him up. He's on this book." I do not understand it. I do not understand it. This is about Saturnine, which I have no back thing with this, but she's an older character, which they brought into this. And she looks very much like the White Queen. But look at I'm going to show you some bad stuff, but look at the line art on that. There's animation that's better than this. And then I got to show you this panel, because you're just going to laugh, because I was just like, I can't believe that they let this go. Look at this. This is a combination between South Park and anime. I guess. This is worse than anime as far as I'm concerned. Look at that panel. Look at that. Her eyes are crossed. What am I reading here? What am I reading? This is awful. Look at the neck on that guy. What is going on? What is going on? I am I mean, this is complete. I don't know what this is, but this is not the original artist on this. So they brought in this person for whatever reason, and it's hard for me to. I mean, look at the guy fall. What is going on here? This is awful. This awful. Thank God it wasn't $5. So it was hard for me to take the story seriously because the artwork is extremely cartoony, to the point of just being humorous. So this continues with Curse, um, that has been taken by Saturn IX, and since there was this whole massacre that took place during the gala, they jumped through a portal. Magic doesn't have her magic anymore. And so they're stuck in this other world. They've been looking for Curse, and here we are again with Curse with crossed eyes. That's just how this artist works. Is that he just has to? Oh my God! Look at this one. Look at that one. What is going on? Oh my God! And they paid this person how much per page? I don't understand. But anyway, so finally, Magic sneaks into the castle where Saturn IX is holding Curse, and she needs Curse for her whatever she's trying to do to take over this land. And this battle's taking place, and the guy that they were hanging out with gets killed, and Magic warns back in the castle there. Magic warns Curse that we've been looking for you forever. Saturn IX's been keeping you held up here. You need to come home. And she ends up. Saturn IX, I guess, holds her with telekinesis and drops her, but she doesn't fall into the ground. Instead she falls into like hell, and that's the end of the issue. So it's basically one battle, and then her finally confronting Curse. Thank God it says to be concluded, because or else I was going to drop it, because it's wow. I can't with that artwork. I can't. So originally I was said maybe it'd be cool to have the X-Men in medieval world and have it animated, but wow, after that I don't know, not anymore. What do you guys think of that artwork? What do you think of that? I mean, I don't know. Did that bother you? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you're collecting it. All right, and then we'll go on to Conan. So this is number 4. This is by Jim Zub. In fact, I was just watching Wes and Drew's on Thinking Critical on their take on this one. This is the end of the story arc with kind of these zombie picks, and he goes with Brisa, who was a Pict, and she had lost her whole tribe basically because they've been undead, and they fight them all off, and then they go into this tower, and he finds other barbarians in there, and he gets them out, and they go into this whole battle, and then they end up fighting where this big sacrifice is taking place, and they end up fighting all of these cultists, and Conan ends up falling into this body of water that's around where the sacrifice is taking place underground. And he finds these tendrils are pulling him down and stuff to that effect, so he's stuck like that. And Brisa goes back in because she rescues people, and then she decides to go back in to save him, or to at least help. But he gets dragged down, and then he ends up meeting this guy So he's in his head right now, or this thing is in his head, or he's been taken in his head into another plane of existence where this guy tells him a story about this evil and stuff to that effect, and we get this really cool 2-page spread. Anyway, he tells him this story so that he gives him courage to fight against the tendrils. So he's underwater and he wakes up and he decides he's going to fight with the sword. And he basically, the guy was telling him the story of the sword, and the guy was the owner of the sword before him, and it was a picked sword, and he promised Brisa he'd give it back to her. And so he ends up escaping from the tendrils in the water. And of course, everybody's like, "I thought you were a gunner." And then we finish the battle above the water, and the art is phenomenal. I mean, it's just phenomenal, and it's very reminiscent of the '70s and things to that effect. Um, the battle continues, and then when they finally get outside, the whole tower collapses on itself. And the guy that goes over to where all the people can hear him, and he says, "Where's Brisa? Because I need to give her back the sword." And they're like, "No, she went in back after you." And I guess we see a piece of the tower, and a guy picks it up, and his eyes turn red. So it's the end of that arc, but I don't think he stuck the landing to this at all. We just saw 3 issues with him and Brisa, traveling and doing all this stuff together. She's not in this issue at all, and then she dies off screen. What? So I was a bit let down with this one. I didn't think. I think the artwork is great, but I wasn't very happy with the ending of the story. It was kind of a letdown for me. It wasn't. Would it make a good film or television show? Not this particular one. I would love to see Conan again. Um, like Jason Momoa, I don't think did a great job with him. Of course, we have the original Conan with Schwarzenegger, and that's about all we've got. Even the second one with Grace Jones was But yeah, this storyline, there's no meat to it. There's no meat to the story. So it's just a whole bunch of battling, and then we don't even get the conclusion with Brisa. She just dies off screen. It's whatever. So I mean, I'll continue getting it. I mean, it's an action packed and it's a good read, but there's just nothing to it. So anyway, that's it for me on that one. And then we go into Purr Evil. Okay, Purr Evil, not pure, Purr Evil. All right, so we have Purr Evil by Mirka and Dolfo. And this is about a girl that's kind of forced into reclusiveness by her mother. And she has a relationship with the guy who lives above them, and they were in this apartment complex. And they send like notes back and forth to one another and stuff like that. And they were able to get each other's phone number because their windows are above one another. I guess they were able to communicate. So anyway, he and her basically escape to have a great day, but what they don't know is that, and I don't think she even knew this about herself, is that her amulet was keeping this demon at bay that's inside of her, and it gets broken or whatever else, and these purple cats come out of her that are a part of this demon, and they make everyone that's around her a I don't know how to they will do anything for her, and they get jealous, so they become very violent and they start killing each other. So they're like, "I'll do anything for you, Deb," blah blah, and they end up killing the guy next to them, and who's also in this violent rage. And then we find out that the parents, the mother and the father, who we get introduced to the father as well because he ends up taking her, that they made some kind of a deal with this demon, not knowing what they were doing, and she was pregnant at the time, so it invaded the fetus. And then there's, of course, when she was born, they realized that all this stuff was going on. So the mother and the father of the boy is they're going after them, and the boy is now infected. So they, the grandmother, who doesn't look anything like them, I mean, she does some kind of a magic thing and poofs the image of the girl so that gives them time to get out from all these people. So yeah, and then she's having lunch with her dad, who is part of a band, and there's her family members or his family members that are basically the band members. So he calls them their family, even though they're just the band. So we see the mother getting older, as well as Deb getting older, and Deb's in the blue hair, of course. And the mother's carrying a gun because every time that she infects somebody, she's got to kill them. And that's what she tells the father of the kid that is now infected, saying he's not your son anymore. You just have to kill him, which I find very strange and very heartless that the mother would just say, yeah, go ahead and kill him. And the dad's like, no, I can't kill my own son. There's got to be a way to save him. That's what anybody would say. And they put him in prison, or in jail at least, where he gets in trouble with the other inmates because the guy's got a tattoo. And the mother comes in and saves him because I guess they knocked out the policeman and came in to get him out. So then they realize that she's with the father, and they're going to go out and get her. And I was really kind of into this before this issue, but I'm kind of over it. It's not really going anywhere. It's not really compelling, and it's just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird, and I just feel like the wheels are spinning, and that's about all that's going on. So I originally said, yeah, I think that it would make a good film and television show, but now that I'm on halfway through the story, I'm going to say no. In fact, I'm wondering, it's still $3.99. I'll probably keep getting it to see where it goes, but I'm not too thrilled with it anymore. Kind of lost its luster. All right, so let's go on to Robert Kirkman's Void Rivals. So this is issue 5. Again, I originally thought this was a miniseries, but everybody's telling me that it's an ongoing. I don't know if this thing's got the juice to be an ongoing, because you kind of want to see it end eventually. Because, okay, this is about like Enemy Mine. So you have this circular ship that is huge, and people live on it. But these two factions have split it down the middle, right? And each one is told that the other one is bad, that they're aliens, and there's been a war going on between them forever. Nobody even knows anything beyond that war. So I guess they're running out of water, so they find a meteorite that's hurtling toward them. They both send their best pilots to get the meteor so that they can get water. And what happens is there's a battle, and they both crash land on this planet. And there's also a Transformer on the planet, but we won't even go there because this is part of the Energon universe. So there's Transformers and G.I. Joe and all this stuff that's supposed to be in this. So anyway, they end up taking off their helmets in front of one another, and they realize they're the same race, and they've been lied to forever. And they decide to work together, so they, out of the two pieces of the two different crash ships, they take pieces and they build a ship, and they finally make it back after they get abducted by another alien, and they make a deal with that alien to give him a different ship because the other ship has minerals that is made out of a metal that the other guy wants. So anyway, they finally start going home, and he's like, how do you want to play this, the male version? And the girl ends up tasering him and takes him back as a prisoner. So she betrays him, which really kind of pissed me off. So I think he's the son of the one king, and she's the daughter of the other king. And so they take him in to torture him, but they never really ask him any questions. Meanwhile, the father says to the girl, I think her name is Solila or something like that. Did you see his face? And she says yes, and he throws her into prison. So they're in jail together. But he's continually taken in to be tortured, where of course she isn't. So we start out in the beginning with them, and I'm not really a fan of this artwork, but at least this artwork is not like cross-eyed. But anyway, they're in jail together, and they're having a moment, and she's like, yeah, I'm having kind of some regrets to all this, and they take him. And then she gets a visit from these kind of night sister things that kind of condemn her for what she's done, and all this stuff. Yeah, they talk about it, some kind of an item of power, and then we find out about a guy that abducted them. He tries to sell his guy to these other godlike aliens, and they're not having it, and they're like, just go kill him. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then he mentions the name of the other race there that he got the ship from, and they were interested in that. So anyway, this poor guy, they don't really ask him any questions while they're torturing him. He says, well, tell us something we don't know. And he's like, well, I like cereal, and I like long walks on the beach, and, I'm just paraphrasing that. That's basically it. He gets to be a dick. And but they see his face, but I guess because they know the secret. But anyway, they really mess him up. He's kind of messed up through this whole thing. When they leave him there, they leave him chained up, which I guess it's like glowy chains. But then this kid shows up just out of the blue, which I think is really convenient. That the fact that they have like a back door, they found this resistance group finds a back door into this cell, and they can get him out without being detected. And he says to them, kid, can you carry me? And he's like, no, sir, I cannot carry you. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'll crawl. And he ends up, crawling through these vents. And they get to the resistance, and they pull him out of the vent. And so they have red crystals, and the other guys are more green faced with green crystals. And he says, look, I'm not doing anything without Solila. And he's like, she betrayed you. What are you talking about? And he's like, that's my deal. So he's staying true to her, even though she stabbed him in the back. It's a good man right there. Or stupid. One or the other. And the guy says, do you even know who she is? Or anything about her? And then we see this weird thing where she has this, like, thumb drive or something. I didn't get the ending. I didn't really understand that. So, will it make a good film or television show? Now, Robert Kirkman, if you don't know who that is, he wrote The Walking Dead. So, yeah, in fact, I'm sure that Walking Dead fans will recognize the logo for Skybound. So anyway, yeah, this goes down definitely a different road than what I was expecting. And I just can't see this going on for forever. But I guess we'll find out. It may take a detour after we finish up with these guys. But yeah, it was kind of convenient that the guy was able to show up inside. The kid was able to show up, and they were able to get him out. I thought that was kind of strange. How many cells haven't been, completely, where there's no way that you can get somebody in and out. I mean, these people have to think about that. In fact, it's a cell. But all right, discounting that, I like the idea, and yeah, I think it'll make a good. In fact, it may eventually, since they have the whole Hasbro thing is involved here. If they integrate all that, I think that would be like a good little Marvel type movie where we have G.I. Joe. We have Transformers, which they're doing right now. If you've seen the ending of the last Transformers film, G.I. Joe shows up at the end of that. So we'll see what happens. All right. Well, that's it for me. But let me plug my stuff real quick. Let me simp for myself, or however the guy said it. So this is my, as you know, I'm a writer. So this is my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch, has a new magic system. We have a continent that has a whole bunch of different styles or cultures, I should say. So you have part of it's Egyptian, part of it's Asian, part of it is Greek, part of it is medieval Europe, and of course they all created different gods and things to that effect. So, and we have the Iron Witch that's coming. Of course, I have dragons in it and stuff like that too. So, gotta love it. And then we have Destiny Aurora, the audiobook for the first novel just came out. This is the adaptation of the first novel. There are 4 novels at this point. And you can see that the artwork does not look like cross-eyed people. I still can't get over that, man. But we have androids and aliens and dogfights and all this stuff. And, there's the eclectic crew of the Aurora. Anyway, this is 150 pages. It does have the ending of the first novel. So it's amazing that I can take a 400-page or 350-page novel and put it into a 150-page graphic novel. Because, words, pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? And then one more time, I'll put the QR code if you want to hit that up for Lords of LA, so that you can get notified. I'm over 200 and something subscribers right now, or followers. I'm hoping to get to 300 before we launch. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you watching and helping me grow the channel out. So subscribe if you can, and give me the thumbs up. Give me the middle finger. Tell me I'm a simp, whatever. Not going to bother me in the least. All right, and then check out some of my other videos that'll pop up right now. That is some of the stuff that I've done in the past, some of the stuff that's recommended for you, and stuff to that effect. All right, and happy Halloween, guys. And again, my condolences to the family of Matthew Perry. That really sucks. All right, have a good one, guys.